Thank you very much. I agree with you when you say that the spirit is moving. This is very emotional. May Winnie, I greet you and I honor you. I'm here today speaking from Abuja because I cannot be there in Montreal. You have everything that has been said is so true. It is so deeply emotional and it is so deeply painful. I honor May Winnie and I acknowledge Prina's relentless efforts to make this panel go ahead. But we shouldn't be apart today. We should be together. We should be together in a country that welcomes us all with open arms. We should be together in Mother Africa where you're all welcome. Whether we've been plundered, our resources, whether our people have been plundered, whether we have been left behind or not, we still welcome everybody. So I greet you all from Abuja, Nigeria. The objective was to share experiences, but that would take too long and would be even more painful. I was introduced as part of the Africa Union Africa Vaccine Alliance, but I'm also a special envoy for the Access to COVID Tools Accelerator for WHO and the co-chair of the ACT Accelerator. The day I was appointed to that, my first day at one of those meetings, one of my principals, one of the people who run global health in this world, as I was introduced, said to the colleagues, the 9 big men who run health in this world, said to the colleagues, watch out for Yodi, watch out for her sharp tongue, watch out if you've never experienced her mouth. That was my introduction as somebody who had never been in those meetings, who had never been in that level into the world of global health. We have a global problem. I cannot share those experiences because it is all, as I said, too hard, but yet I am still the only woman at that leadership level for COVID. But we're talking about pandemics. And one day we will have that conversation about the role that institutional racism has played in this COVID pandemic, in perpetuating not just HIV/AIDS, but perpetuating COVID. From the very early days and barely veiled racist attacks on the Director General of WHO from global leaders, from presidents, and the way that dynamic impacted the global views on what people thought about the importance or not of this microbe that was being called SARS-CoV-2. People underestimated the gravity of the moment we were in because the man at the head of the World Health Organization was a black man from northern Ethiopia called Tedros, but we wonder what would have happened if he was a white man from Calgary, Alberta called Theodore. Perhaps the world would have taken it more seriously. Perhaps we would not be where we are today. Perhaps they would have listened when we said that we need to take care, we need to take control. Perhaps WHO would not have had their funding cut in a pandemic. But all from North America to the UK to Africa, communities of color have fared the worst through this pandemic. And institutional racism is defining history and the way we respond to crises, be they man-made conflict or naturally occurring viruses. Look at what just happened between Ukraine and the horrible conflict there and aggression from Russia. But look at what happens in conflicts in Nigeria, in Ethiopia, in Somalia, in Sudan. Does anybody pay attention? The world has shown us that identify as black, that our lives do not have the same value as those who are blonde and blue-eyed, and that there is a gradation on the colorism scale for those whose lives are valued. Because while some fleeing conflict zones as refugees are welcomed with open arms into millionaires' homes and given their pets given humanitarian assistance and safe passage, we, those of us who identify as black, as brown, as indigenous, are often denied passage, and our plight are ignored, and those lucky enough to escape are herded into leaky ships and left to die in murky waters of the Mediterranean, whilst Coast Guard's patrol boats ensure we have nowhere to swim and no place to go. However, we must not be bitter. We must, as May Winnie said, we must look at the solutions. And what are those solutions? We must speak truth to power and not be afraid. I tell people, you didn't hire me, you can't fire me. I do not seek position, I do not seek jobs, I do not seek power because I want to be able to speak truth to power, and that is where we must all be, because I'm sorry, May Winnie, there are no safe spaces. We must speak truth to funders and global feminist organizations who are hypocritical, and to the donors who are giving money to people who continue to oppress us. We must move meetings from the global south north to the global south and ensure that everybody can attend, because not everybody can afford the $20,000 it was going to cost to get to Montreal, never mind the hotel cost, never mind the indignity that one would have to suffer. So we call out donors, whoever they are, be they Gates, be they multilateral organizations, be they whoever the donor organization is. We say we see you, we call you out today. We also, as people of Black, Brown, Indigenous, people of color, we must not allow ourselves to be weaponized one against the other. Do not become the house slave who they use to whip the others into control. We must come together, the critical mass that Winnie talked about. There is power in numbers, but only if we do not punish one another. We must not be allowed to drag one another down like crabs in the bucket, because divided we fall, but united we will stand and we will have power. Aki Faori Lenyo Lori, that is in my language, Yoruba. I'm a Yoruba girl. That means you cannot shave my head in my absence, because you need my head on the table so that you can shave it. So you cannot have meetings about people living with HIV/AIDS, about people in Africa, about people in Asia without them at the majority of the table. So we say no more. Do not allow them to convene these meetings anymore. Do not allow them to push us out of the room anymore. 4 decades of experience from HIV, but it appears that we have learned nothing. I could go on, but there is too much to say. I thank you for the privilege of sharing this space. I am so sad that I was unable to be with you, but thank you for the leadership and for giving us this safe space to talk. Thank you for giving everybody else courage to speak and say that enough is enough. Thank you.